was the star of Superman Returns, played Clark Kent as well as the Man of Steel. Also has appeared in such movies as Dylan Dog and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, as well as the TV series Chuck. Please give a huge welcome to Mr. Brandon Routh.
All right. Man, some fans are good. You are great fans. These are also great fans. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Welcome back. Third year. Third time appearance.
I'll get it right this time. Third time's a charm, that's what they say. All right.
Okay. So what would you like to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? I can talk about all kinds of things. That might bore everybody.
So, prior to Superman Returns, you grew up in Iowa. And I believe not too far from where George Reeves was originally from in Wilson.
That is true.
Have you ever visited Wilson?
I have not, but my parents have.
Okay.
Yes, many times, yeah.
Okay. And prior to Superman Returns, leading up to being cast in that role, what was your experience in regard to acting, modeling?
Before going to Los Angeles?
Yes.
Well, I was in all of the musical productions that could be possible up to that point in Norwalk, Iowa. Musical theater, choir, church choir, swing choir, band, marching band, jazz band, solo contests. I think that covers it, yeah. Real professional experience.
Nice. And what was the entire process of actually first finding out about the opportunity to play Superman and going through the whole casting process?
Oh, that would take the whole entire Q&A. But to sum it up, I had an original meeting in March of 2003 with the director Mick G, who was the director at the time. And it was just kind of a meet and greet, a half-hour conversation where we didn't even talk about Superman. And then I came back and read with the casting directors, and then I read with and Mick G was in the room for another one, and then I did a screen test along with 5 or so other gentlemen, and then we had to wait. We had about a month of waiting until they decided what was going to happen. And that time, Mick G left the project, and everything kind of fell apart. And then resurfaced again a couple months later under a different director. And then I still didn't get called in for that for a long time. And I was like, what's going on? Surely they saw my tape. They know I'm the guy. But it wasn't until, I believe, August 13th, that I got a call to finally meet the director, Brian, at the Coffee Bean in Sunset, which is no longer there. And we had a 2.5-hour meeting. And in that meeting, it sounded pretty much like he kind of almost made up his mind already, but it was the first time I met with him. But then I went and did the whole kind of same thing again. I read, met with everybody, and then did another screen test, of which I think I was the only one then, but maybe I wasn't. And then another waiting game for another month or so until I was finally cast. So the whole process was about 6 months. So it was a lot of up and down and heartbreak and excitement and stuff, but it worked out. And I'm here.
I think I've read before that even at an earlier age, individuals had always told you how much of a favorite Chris at that time when you were younger. And,
yeah, it was when I was 19 was the first time that I remember anybody saying that. My first manager ever mentioned that maybe someday, if there's a TV show or movie, definitely get me in on that audition. So.
And working on Superman, the entire process, of course, having to be up on wires and flying and everything, was that whole experience like being hung up there with it?
Oh, it was, yeah, I mean, the learning process was awesome and a little bit scary. Not in a bad way, but just, dropping that far at a fast rate is something I hadn't experienced before. But I enjoyed that learning process. It was about a month and a half, 2 months of preparation, of wire work, and I worked with a great movement coach, this gentleman, Terry Notary, who's done amazing things, since with working with other actors, and just helped me move more gracefully. And I did trampoline work and a lot of just getting in touch with how my body was moving physically and that kind of stuff, which allowed me to bring a stronger physicality and gracefulness to the character. That is what I wanted to add to it, and then with all the flying technologies, make it look as good as possible. So.
And after Superman Returns, you then did Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Scott Pilgrim fans there. Can you talk a little bit about the experience working on that film?
Oh, it was great. It was great fun. Edgar Wright's an amazing director. I was very excited to be working with him, and a phenomenal cast, fantastic story, and to be a part of. I got to play. I don't typically like bad guys, playing bad guys, but when it's goofy and silly over the top like that, it was. I loved it. Anytime I can be over the top and it's to make people laugh, I enjoy it. So I enjoyed it very much. Yeah, it's a great time, and the film has grown over the years and really created a great audience, and so much so that we got to do the Netflix series that came out late last year, and it's been a great time.
And then another film that you did shortly after that was Dylan Dog.
Yeah! Yeah!
Dylan Dog fans.
Nice. Yeah.
And that one you actually reunited with Sam.
That's right. Yeah.
It was Jimmy and Returns. Working on that project. Talk a little bit about that film as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We also reunited with Gil Adler. Gil, who is unfortunately not able to be here with us today because he COVID, and he's all the way in Vancouver, so it's very far from the travel. So hopefully we'll make that work another year. So Gil produced it, and Sam and I starred in it. It was a lot of fun. Anytime I can work with Sam, and anytime I can work with Gil, it's an amazing experience. And get to be funny in that sometimes in that movie. So I don't like the horror genre that much, but I like horror comedy. So that was right up my alley, and monsters. So
I can remember the first appearance that you had here in Metropolis. I believe back in 2011. You and Sam were actually here together, and I remember how much kind of were cutting up, playing off each other. Was it kind of like that on the set also, like a lot of practical jokes or anything like that going on?
Yeah, well, not practical jokes, but jokesters. Always trying to a little bit one up and just make a joke, and then go to work, and then make more jokes, and then go to work.
And fast forward to the CW with the crossover episode, you get to return to the character of Superman.
Yes. And the second return. The first return was prophetic.
And pretty much a Kingdom Come version of the character.
Mm-hmm.
So, preparing for that different take on the character, what was that whole experience like?
Pretty easy, in a way. I mean, the hardest part was, getting in shape again for it. But thankfully, I was definitely in better shape to do it that time than I was the first time. And had a great trainer up in Vancouver where we filmed it. And I also knew a lot more things about health and nutrition, so it was much easier. And as far as the character differences, it's still the same character from Superman Returns. He's just had these epic, terrible emotional experiences in his life of loss. And I had lived nearly 20 years at that point of life since I made Superman. I guess it was 15 years. And had a son who's here with us today, Leo. And that really imparted a lot of more depth and presence, I think, and authenticity for the character, because I had just lived more life and I felt even though I'm not wise enough yet. I was wiser than I was at the beginning, the first time. So, and had loss in my own way that I could tap into more to bring a more gravitas, more groundedness to Clark and Superman that we see in the crossover.
And over the years with Henry Cavill, of course, coming in for the reboot, and then next year we have David Cornsweet. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Do you still follow everything that's going on since your take on the character with the newer movies and what's coming up next year?
I mean, I'm aware of what's happening for sure, and I'm really looking forward to what James Gunn and Peter Safran do with the DC world, because I know one thing. If I know one thing, it's that James really loves this material, and he'll honor it and appreciate it. I don't know if it'll look the way and be the version of the thing that some people want it to be. I don't know that. I just know from watching Guardians of the Galaxy, the heart and the soul and the family that he's created in those movies, I think, is astounding and something really important and needed in the world, where we can have these different people, different walks of life and different upbringings coming together and creating a family, even in such chaos. I think it's what we have to do in the world today. So he's giving us a model for that in an epic cinematic universe. And if he can do that and make us laugh and make me cry in the movie, played Guardians 3 so many times, then I know he's going to honor the spirit and soul of Superman. So that's all I need to hear. And if he does it, well, then I'll have to write him a strongly worded letter.
Okay, definitely want to open up questions here to the audience. Have a Supergirl right over here with the microphone. Just raise your hand. She'll come to you.
Ivan has a question over here. Ivan. I think it's the same temperature it was the last time I was here. It feels the same. Yeah, Leo, give me a question. Well, until we get that. Yeah. Okay, go for it. Question asked before, what do I like better, Superman, the Atom, or Todd Ingram? And the answer is Superman. However, Todd, you're fine, but no, go away. Ray Palmer is near and dear to my heart, and I love playing that character. That whole universe was fantastic, but Superman is Superman, so you can't ever beat Superman. In my heart. So. Good question.
What's your favorite way to have fun? What's your favorite way to have fun?
What's my favorite way to have fun? That's a great question, Ivan. My favorite way to have fun is to laugh. Anything that, movies make me laugh, good conversations with friends and new people make that happen, fun experiences. I think experiencing life joyfully is what I love to do. It's hard, it's challenging to find ways to do that these days, but they do exist, and I work to be here to help us find other ways to all of us to do that, because there's so much more to life, and it's to have fun and joy and love. And love you, Ivan. Thank you.
First, I want to say thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
And I was going to ask, with the Atom, you were the first person to play it, besides Superman, where you had multiple. Was it more intimidating being the first person to be this character?
Absolutely. I mean, more intimidating to play Superman, yes. Less intimidating to be the Atom, and more like exciting. That was one of the exciting things about the opportunity, was to bring Ray and the Atom to life. And I had a lot of choice kind of in how I got to do that within the confines of the awesome writing and producing and directing. But yeah, I got to bring my own energy to it. And to be honest, just to go back and qualify something about Superman, listen, there's not much. I don't think I would have done anything different anyway. Like Chris nailed it, and I don't know how I would have, even if I had never seen his films. I think I would have. I feel like I would have approached it the same way. But he's my model for Superman, so that wasn't hard necessarily either. It was just daunting to make sure that I lived up to that, my own expectation and everyone else's.
When you first were auditioning for the role of Superman and the different tests and everything, was there ever a time that you wore the original costume during any of those? They didn't do that at all? So the costume, the only one you wore was what we saw on screen?
Yeah, the only actual costume I was in was for the first screen test, and it was a Stan Winston designed like foam suit, all one piece that you had to pull up, and there was only one of them, so all the different like 6 guys who were auditioning, I think we're all trying to get in the same suit, and it didn't really fit me. It barely fit me, and there's at least one guy that was taller than I was, so I don't know how that worked out. But the other for the other, my second screen test, it was a blue shirt and just a sheet basically. There's a video of it somewhere. But.
Hi, it's really cool to meet you. My first comic I ever read was Kingdom Come, so it was really cool to see him in that suit. And my question is, which suit is more comfortable to wear, your Superman Returns shirt or your Kingdom Come suit?
The Kingdom Come suit was definitely much more comfortable to wear. And the technology of the suit design has come a long way. There have been so many superheroes and superhero movies since Superman Returns, so you know, I got the benefit of that the second time around. And also, I mean, I think it was also a beautiful suit as well. I got to be more involved in the design to a degree. I mean, I didn't just, it felt, I was more included, which was awesome also.
Hi, Brandon. Nice to meet you. This is a question about the sequel of Superman Returns that never was. Robert Mayer Burnett in a podcast, the guy who made the awesome documentary Requiem for Krypton, he told that he read a treatment about the new Krypton, Brainiac, Jason growing up. You know something about this?
You know more than, I mean, I never read a treatment. I had heard things as something.
What did you hear?
There was a terrorist plot type of situation. And that's kind of all I know. I might have heard that Brainiac was going to be involved, but that's all that ever filtered back to me. Everything had fallen apart so far, so quickly that, you know, I'm sure he probably knows. It's probably pretty close to that truth.
Hi Brandon, I came from Spain only to see you. This is a long travel, but it's worth. I know your Superman in Superman Returns and in Kingdom Come and Crisis is the same Superman in different stages of his life, but which version did you enjoy the most to play?
Which version? Superman Returns or the Kingdom Come version? Well, I enjoyed the Superman Returns storyline better. I mean, it's kind of a catch-22 because I would like to have played Superman Returns with the wisdom and the life experience that I had when I was 38 versus when I was, I was 40. When I was 40, I turned 40, yeah, on the set, 40 versus when I was 25. And I think the Kingdom Come storyline is very, very, very interesting and like a cool storyline. That's a very heavy storyline, and I don't like so much sadness, but it's important. It's an important story. I would want a blend of the two someday, you know, because I want Superman to be joyful. Superman's a beacon of hope and light, and you know, while that's in Superman Returns, I think the sequel would have given us even more of that. But we had to create the backstory and the whole, you know, Superman and Lois went together, so they're not happy. There's not a lot of charming Superman except for with Kitty Kowalski. So that's one of my favorite scenes, is taking her to the hospital. So I would like an even more joyful version of Superman, where there's still like drama and getting the bad guys or whatever it is, but more hope, more laughs, more Clark, more fun, and also the drama and action. Didn't really answer your question. Thanks for traveling. Safe travels home.
Hi, Brandon. I know that you originally wanted to be a writer, and we're all kind of glad that that didn't work out.
It didn't work out?
No.
I'm not, I mean, no.
No, I meant when you went to UR. But I was just curious about that. What were some of your favorite authors that inspired you to want to do that?
Well, when I was a youth, and still today, I just don't have time for it, I love reading fantasy. So I started with, actually, it was Patricia C. Reed, I think was in middle school, Talking to Dragons or something series. But then Terry Brooks was the first real big one in all of his series, and then Terry Goodkind, and then Robert Jordan, and David Farland also has an interesting series. And then I've kind of, since I haven't read much since 98, 99, since I came out here really, or came out to Los Angeles and started the acting biz, but I wanted to be a fantasy novelist.
Good afternoon. Any stories about working?
Maybe I'll write a book with my son someday, is that what you're saying? Sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we might. We have ideas. Yeah. We got good ideas. Okay, thank you. He's right. No, he's right. I mean, you know, there's still hope.
Any stories with Jack Larson or Noel Neal, who played the...
Oh, there. You wait.
Any stories about Jack Larson and Noel Neal?
Noel Neal, absolutely lovely. Every time I saw her, what a lovely presence in honoring Lois, and just so sweet and welcoming to the whole family, Superman family. She was probably the best person that did that and held, you know, everyone together as being one of, or the OG, as it were. And for Jack, I had a great time with Jack. Sam and I had a great time in the bars shooting that scene. Speaking to him about some of his memories working, and just lovely to have both of them in the movie and to honor Superman and still get to keep them in the lore of Superman, because they've been so incredibly important to Superman in the story.
Hi, Brandon. So I just wanted to say, like, with your time playing the Atom and all the different, like, Arrowverse shows, what was your favorite one of those shows to be on, and, like, while you were playing the Atom? From, like, the
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Legends. Aside from that, I really enjoyed working on Flash, because I always loved working with the other show other than Legends would have been Flash, because working with Grant and Candace and Tom and all the lovely people over there. Carlos.
Hi, Brandon. So you've been my favorite actor since I was 18 years old. I have to ask, you have played so many comic book characters. Is there, if any difference at all, a different way in how you approach playing a character that is instantly recognizable like Superman versus someone who's more niche like Dylan Dog or Ray Palmer?
Well, I mean, Superman stands out above everyone. No, I hear your question. I don't know exactly how to answer that. To say that yes, there's a difference. Can I tell you what the difference is? I don't know. It's just that Superman is Superman, and everybody else is not Superman. However, I mean, but here's the thing. So now I'm finding the answer. Having played Superman first, and going on a deep dive about, imagining what it's like to be the most powerful being on Earth or in existence. How do you do that? I see that, there's a little Superman in everyone, right? So what level of Superman is this character? I haven't thought about it in this way, but it's kind of that. Yeah, I mean. It's a longer question. I would love to answer sometime, but I will go into too much philosophy for everyone here.
Are there any Marvel characters you'd have an interest in never playing?
I mean, you tell me. I don't know every other character. They all have played wonderfully, so I don't know who else is left to play. Captain America, I've said Captain America, yes, but there's no need because Chris is a great Captain America, but that's the equivalent of Superman, so. Yeah. I could be, alternate Captain America versus Chris, that'd be fine. Not versus, but in tandem. Hulk? Did you say?
Red Hulk.
Red Hawk? Red Hook?
Red Hulk.
Red Hulk. What does Red Hulk do? Does he hug people when he's in there? Huh? He's just red? I'd be the hugging superhero.
And you've met some of the other actors who have played Superman over the years. When you've had that experience, y'all discuss like the different aspects of each version that you've portrayed.
I mean, not too much. We don't get together and talk shop too much because it's kind of weird, I guess, probably. No, it's more like just we talk about what it means to the fans because we meet up at a lot of conventions, so it's us just appreciating and sharing fan experiences, encounters, and honoring the spirit of Superman, which brought us all of us together to be there to share that back with everyone here and just kind of be like a conduit of the fantastic spirit of Superman.
And on the TV series Chuck, obviously another great role that you played on there. Chuck fans, talk a little bit about experience working on that TV series.
Sure. Yeah, Chuck was great. I was a fan of the show before being on it. I wasn't a fan of being a bad guy, but I was happy to be on the show. And I wasn't a fan of all the bad things I had to do. And I was like, guys, people are gonna hate me, but they do. But they hate Daniel Shaw and they hate to love him, so it's okay, I guess, in the end. But I was definitely a little resistant what I had to do in that show a lot. But I had a great time working with Zach and Yvonne and Adam and everybody. So.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, I was at the Superman Museum yesterday, and I was in the area where there was of the old Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. There was a device that they used for the flying sequences that had Mr. Reeve held up to have him fly. They did the flying sequences with you? Did they have you do the same thing, or was it computer animation?
Great question. What was your name, sir?
Clark.
Clark. Oh, yeah, Clark. Oh, that sounds familiar. Do you mean the body pan? It was like, yeah, the big arm, white, and then he was attached to this thing that was moving around like that? Yeah, thank goodness no. They thought they were going to do that, and I did the body cast for that, which was the hardest part about playing Superman was the body casts that I had to do. Like 2 full body casts. They put Anyway, I'm not gonna go to that. It was terrible. And now they have computers that do all those things. You know, the flying part was the hardest part of the movie, for sure, the months and months and months of that. But I'm glad that we did it the way we did it, all wires but not a body pan, because you're strapped into that thing and it just terrible. So my heart always goes out, has gone out to Chris for him being a part of that process.
Hey, Brandon. Okay, so recently some rumors swirled about some sort of TV follow-up to Superman Returns. So can you hear me okay?
No, I mean, a follow-up of what?
The rumors have recently swirled about some sort of TV follow-up to Superman Returns. You know, I don't say what you can about that or whatever you would know, but really my question would be, if you had that opportunity, would you want to play it as kind of like where he was left off with the Kingdom Come storyline and the crossover, or would you want to kind of do that with a clean slate?
Well, it's a good question. It's hard to erase what happened a little bit, having had Crisis. But I really don't like that Lois died. I think that's an integral part of Superman's story. So for that reason, I wouldn't like it to be the case. Because I want to have, you know, if I'm going to play Superman again, I want to have a moment in the sun with Lois, you know, the right way. But it would definitely, no matter what version of Superman I would ever, if and when I'm asked to play and reprise, it will not veer very far at all from what I've already done, because there's no other Superman to me. There's no other way to be the character. It's just more of that. That's the only answer I have that can satisfy right now.
Thank you.
Hi, Brandon. It's an honor to talk to you.
Thanks.
We've got a lot of different things, but I'm going to cut it short.
You hold the mic a little closer. There you go.
I just landed a screenwriter Netflix about 6 months ago.
A gig? Congratulations.
It's going to be called The Magnet. And, I'm a local guy, I live in Destin, Missouri, but I admire you, man, because it's not easy to pursue anything towards movies, or they want to put a life story movie about my life. And I just want to ask you, this hurry and wait game, it's not easy to go through hurry and wait. And when I'm saying hurry and wait, you get excited, then you kind of have to wait, get excited. But this is where I'm at in my life, and if I never get no farther, Brandon, I'm going to have a story about my life in this month. I feel honored, and it's an honor to meet
That's
you.
amazing. Well, thank you. Congratulations, and it is thank you for honoring the process that is, you know, creation of film and television. And most everything is, life is about hurry up and wait a lot of the time. You know, that the only gem I can pull from that is you gotta have something to be, it's great to have something to be excited about in the future, but we also have to be able to find something to be a space to be in the meantime, and that's challenging for everyone. Even when you're at the top, I imagine there are people who are feeling that way. Yeah, so life is about the journey, right? And that's why we have a life. It's so interesting that people are telling a story about it. So, yeah, anyway, that's awesome. I don't have to wrap up that question. Thank you for sharing.
So for the past 10 years, my mom and I watched your Hallmark Christmas movies, and Nine Lives of Christmas was my favorite Christmas movie. She had passed sadly in 2021, and the sequel came out a couple months after. So I was wondering, how did that come about? How did Hallmark decide your movie was going to be, the sequel to any other Hallmark Christmas movie?
The sequel to any other?
Like the sequels, how did you know that? Like, what was it like getting the phone call for 9 Lives of Christmas? Like for 9 Kids of Christmas?
Yeah. I mean, I was excited to reteam with Kimberly Sustad, who's fantastic. I co-star in that movie, Marilee, and I was like, if she's in and I'm in, So it's great. I love that. I love how much that movie has meant to people, and how often they watch it, and it fills them with love and Christmas spirit, and that's fantastic. So I was excited to reteam and be a part of it, having known already how much people appreciated the first one. It made the second one, a little bit more special in that way, because I knew we weren't just making a movie, we were making a movie that I knew people were going to watch and enjoy. So, yeah, it's special.
Is there a possibility of a part 3 that you
I mean, there's always a possibility of things, but nothing in the works right now. I would like to work with Kim again, so that is quite likely. Don't know what form it would be.
Hi, Brandon. It was nice to meet you again. In the Crisis episode, what was it like shooting the scene where Lex sort of warps Superman, and then you have to fight Tyler's Superman? What was shooting that scene like?
What was shooting that scene like? I don't like being the mean Superman. Shocker. So it was challenging to find emotionally the right space to have that anger and volatility when there wasn't a lot of, I just was turned evil by Lex. There's not really a storyline for that, so finding some kind of truth in that was challenging. But I like how it turned out, and Tyler's awesome. He's a fantastic Superman and Clark, and it was great to share the scene with him and just do all that stuff and be on camera with another Superman. It was pretty wild, another Clark. And then all flying stuff was actually fun, which is not something I could say in the first go around, but we did everything in that movie, or excuse me, in that TV, in that whole sequence, I think in one day. I did, which is just astounding. It was like 10 hours of wire work because they created this whole new rig and way of doing it. So it was fun and cool to work with Tyler.
Hello, Byron. My question is kind of like a follow-up to that. I want to say that, in my opinion, it was the best scene I've ever saw. You had the best line. That was the second time I fought myself. Which the whole scene you saw from Superman 2, and then you carried on with Superman 3. My question
that was cool.
My question is there a possibility where you can play Superman again in another TV series now that Superman Lois has been canceled?
Is there a possibility that I can't or I can? Can. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, after I played Superman the first time, impossible, but possible. And then the second time, seemed almost more impossible than the first time, and it happened. So the world is full of possibilities. Legally, there's nothing stopping it that I know of. Okay, I don't. Might need to write to somebody bigger than the CW, but thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
You might get a call from James because
he knows where I am.
I mean, in prior movies,
he's aware. He's aware.
In prior movies, they've gotten people Afghan. You've had Aaron Smolenski was in Man of Steel, so I mean, anything's possible.
Thanks for coming back again. There's a scene in Superman Returns that I always found to be a little peculiar.
Go for it.
And I was wondering if you or any of the production crew had any discussions about whether it should be done.
Which scene? I think I know what it is.
Where Superman is hovering outside of
Sure.
kind of.
Yeah, right for criticism. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it? Why do you think it's creepy or worse than
I just thought it was kind of peculiar, and I was wondering if anybody had any reactions to doing it.
I've thought about that because people brought it up, I don't know, after the movie. And I was like, did I miss this? Like, where was I that I didn't see this? And I took it, I never had a problem with it. Because he's been gone. He left. And he doesn't stay and watch them go into the bedroom. That would be creepy. He watches a tender family moment and learns a great deal of information that the audience needs to know. So from the storyline perspective, helpful. And it's an absolutely wonderful scene, one of the best scenes and well-acted scenes of the movie by James Marsden and Kate. But every time I see that thing where he asks the question, like, "Are you still in love with Superman?" and her response and his face, man, so fantastic. That's why he's working me so much right now, because he's a great actor. So I actually kind of really like that scene, and listen, Superman's not God, so you know, I technically that is illegal for him to be doing that. But I mean, if you just think about it, he can kind of do it from anywhere. If he can hear people in space, he can pick you out anyway and look through your walls. So that's maybe why I didn't bump on it, because like I can do that anytime. He was just choosing it to do it then, specifically, to learn about a person that he was in love with. So that's how I feel about it.
Hey Brandon, over here. Right here.
Hiya.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
You were my first Superman movie experience, and I want to say that was great. Well, I loved that Kingdom Come suit. That was just perfection to me.
I can't take that much credit for it. Lovely team. Thank you.
My question was, well, now I can't remember now. When you got, I hate this watching this scene when you get beat up by the thug, Lex Luthor's thugs.
Yeah.
I can't watch that scene. But what was behind the scenes with that scene?
That was one of the hardest days of the shoot, but also the most rewarding. So aside from falling down the stairs, which was my amazing stunt double, Mike Massa, you know, Lex punches him, and getting thrown into the shards, picked up and thrown by Ian. Pretty much did everything else in that scene. So that's me getting dragged through the water, that's me getting stuffed in the water and, you know, hit with a foam rock. And Ian Tom, I can't remember his last name, the biggest guy, pulling me around and just like, I don't know, we did that 6 or 7 times. And the water was cold also. But that was epic, and I didn't have to do a lot of acting. It was mostly surviving, just like trying to stay strong as Superman while all this is happening, getting, you know, affected by kryptonite. So it was rough. So it's appropriate to feel like maybe he was in risk for his life, because maybe, just a little bit, it felt like that for me. But yeah, so that's that. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but also that's good, I guess, because we did our job.
Now, I've read before that the entire opening of the movie was a bit different as to where the whole reason that you went to Krypton was because it was a fake news story that Lex created, so he would not be there for his trial. So that entire sequence of where you were in the ship with the silver costume was cut from the theatrical release. Was that kind of a disappointment that that was not included when it was actually released in theaters?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so, because you don't see me as Superman then for a very long time. But it's also, it might have been startling because it's the first time that you see me as Superman. And that's something that everybody considered, I think, too, at the studio level. It's like, nobody had seen anybody else in a Superman suit in the movie except for Chris. So to see me right away, this new guy, there, I think was part of the consideration. It's on the DVD, it's in one of the DVD releases, I think, the full thing, but I thought it was a cool part of the story. Maybe they could have kept like little pieces of it and done like a retelling of it and use it that way. But I'm okay with it. I've never watched the movie with it the other way, so I'm not sure what the experience is. It would have been a much longer movie. It was already a long movie, so that's also part of the thing to consider.
I have a question about, you mentioned fantasy books when you were younger. What, like obviously we love Superman, so for you, what would be the equivalent that you would want to, like growing up, you would want to drive and try?
Dark Crystal,
Okay.
Labyrinth, You're talking about movies?
Just anything that's just really
Anything Jim Henson. Yeah. What is it? Flight of the Navigator? One of my favorites.
How about Dark Crystal?
That's what I said. Dark Crystal. That's the first one I said. Never Ending Story. So stuff like that. Yeah, that's dark stuff. I mean, it's all very dark. It was the '80s. But yeah, that otherworldly stuff where still the the good guys make it.
Hello, Brandon. Welcome to Metropolis.
Thank you.
When the movie was coming out, Superman Returns, and you were being asked a lot of questions about the blessing and the burden of being cast as Superman.
Thank you for saying it that way.
That's how you responded to it, I remember. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Those are my words?
Those were your words.
Oh, I knew something then. Okay.
So you learned something today. Moving forward, now that you play one of the most important roles in your life as a dad, how do you explain to your son, or when did he first discover that his dad was Superman, and how do you share that? And if you don't feel comfortable asking,
well,
thanks for being here. You're awesome. You know.
Thank you. I think that most. It's a very good question. I think the most important part about playing Superman or being in anyone who is in a role that is heroic is being able to be okay not being the hero all the time, especially as a parent. We can't always be the perfect parent, and that's really challenging. We're clapping for yourselves, not for me. Everybody clap for themselves, and I don't need all that. It's for everyone, because we're all going through this together in the world that we're living in. It's hard to admit mistakes. It's hard to not look like you know the answers. It's hard not to be able to fix things. And it's hard when you say the wrong thing to explain what you meant to say, but you were too busy and caught up in your head that you couldn't give the time that you wanted to say the thing that you should have said, that you wanted to say. And that's everybody's experience to a degree. So I think to go back to your original part of your question, the blessing and the burden of Superman, it's the same thing with life. It's like we have this greatness, we have all this potentiality and possibility within all of us. Because everybody's Superman, or Superwoman, super person. We all have this. I'm not special. I look like the guy, that helped. I sound like him. There are certain qualities, obviously, that have allowed me to be up here speaking to you guys than other people. But anyone can be here in my position. It's always been how I feel about Superman. That's the beauty of Superman and humanity. And but you can't just like dream of being the savior without understanding mistakes that you've made along the way and giving respect back to those you've hurt and honoring people's pain. I think that's the biggest thing about parenting and about life is honoring other people's pain, even if you didn't mean to hurt them. It's understanding that even if your intentions were not to hurt a person, if they're crying and they're upset, guess what? Something happened. So even if you didn't mean to, you can hurt a person. And it's up to you, the individual, becoming the bigger person to go, oh crap, or insert other word. I'm so sorry that happened. I'm so sorry. No, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to give you the language right now because I'm failing. But there are many books on it anyway. To honor the other person and understand that that you hurt them, even if you didn't mean to. So that's what I try working on as a parent and as a person. And Yeah, so love everyone. Love you.
We got time for one more question right over here.
Yeah, it's a related question. When Superman Returns came out, you got to think about the timing. A lot of, I was talking to another guy that was actually in line right in front of me to meet you.
A little closer with the mic if you can.
Another guy that was in line in front of me to meet you earlier. You were in Iraq.
Yes.
So that was, a little brightness for us. You know what I mean? So the people who say the movie was no good, you kiss my. My question is, I grew up I was born, I think, the year that Superman 1 came out with Christopher Reeve. So that's who and I told you this earlier. And then you kind of fed off of that one. And I think, Lois and Clark, or Superman and Lois, they kind of fed off you or them. But how do you feel about the demeanor of the other Superman? They had a different persona to them. Like,
you mean that have come after me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. Where you were smiling and happy and funny. Yeah. They were not.
Well, listen. People love that movie and the portrayal of Superman in that way. Many people wanted and needed that. So the world has had both versions. I have always preferred Chris's version, my version, the original version, which is a beacon of hope and light. I think that's what we need. And I think there's a way to show the pain that was in subsequent movies. A lot of pain, a lot of trying to grounding it in reality. And so I honor that. It goes to what I was just kind of speaking. There is pain. How can you have this guy flying around and treat him like he's like something special? It's not even real. He can't fly, and deny the real world pain that people are destroying each other daily, for years, forever. And right now, as we're sitting here, that's a lot to handle, everybody, isn't it? I'm taking it real here. But yeah, how do we hold that? It's a question I always have in my life, constantly, every day. How do I get up every day, come here and be with you lovely people, when all that stuff is going on in other places? Truth is, I can't do anything about what's happening over there. In a real, effective way, I can just do this and be here with you guys. This is my contribution. You are contributing by being here and being in the spirit, the joy, love of Superman, and spreading that joy, love to your friends and family and everyone else. Superman is about light, and light doesn't deny anybody. Okay? Everybody needs light, no matter where you are, who you love, what color you are, any of that, all the blah blah blah. It's all people. It's all love. So if I have one message, I listen to the question you even asked me, and I'm on the stage. So I'm saying it again, because I've been playing this guy for a long time, and this is the message that always comes back to me about this. After all the love I received from thousands and millions of fans, I am so honored to be sitting in this position, standing here, sitting here, being here, supported by all of the artists and creators and everyone who's come before me, and I get to give that love back to you guys. That's one reason I'm here, so that then everybody else can go do it. So that's like a big contribution we can have to help all the other stuff that's going on in the world that we don't have direct control over. So when I see a movie or media where Superman isn't portrayed in that way, that's not my favorite. There's a way to do that and have Superman go through trials and tribulations and still have a bright side. Superman Returns narrowly did that at the end. And so that's how I feel about that. But there's another part of that question that you talked about the soldiers, and I want to honor that and appreciate it. Thank you for your service, and everyone here who's served, no matter where you served, you're in the military and armed services, here at home, everywhere. Appreciate you so much, and I honor how much Superman has meant as the hero of all heroes to all the other heroes. I've heard so many stories from veterans who come over and personal, like sitting kind of crying with a few people and just letting them share with me that the fact that this movie, they credit Superman and the movie with helping save their lives. And that's a lot. But I'm so grateful that they told me that, because I also then understand after thinking about it, like, it's not me. I'm a conduit. I'm here to share the message, everybody, and that's what I'm here, and I appreciate you and love you all, and I'm grateful that you all are here. And I have one request before we wrap up. You can clap if you want to, but I didn't want to be rushed off the stage. Thank you for your question. Are we done? Okay, I have a request. It's my parents, today is my parents, Ron and Katie Routh. It's their 50th anniversary. And I'm going to say it today, I'm telling everybody, hey Mom, Dad, they're in Kansas City at a friend's, my sister's childhood friend's wedding, where they're getting celebrated, but that was planned before I knew I was going to be here. So then can we all say, Happy Thank you all. Thank you.